The two of these guys have pretty close PBs, so it should be a really good match.
Alright, and we're off.
So now, of course, we have to see, because, you know, the real boss of this game is actually the first boss, because you can die to the behemoth.
It's great programming, isn't it?
Supposed to be, you know, your first RPG, kind of like an intro, a little leeway in. That is a terrible thing to do to your players. My goodness.
So one thing that both runners are going to be hoping to see here is them getting a critical hit and the behemoth not getting a critical hit, because
exactly.
if the behemoth gets a critical hit on you, it's basically rip the fight and have to start over.
Right, and it takes 4 hits with 25 damage apiece for regular hits to get through the behemoth, and it looks like both of our players are through. No dies to the behemoth! Yay!
Yeah, both these runners have pretty close PBs to each other from what I saw beforehand. I think JaySee has a 218 and Couch has a 227.
7, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're both. Go ahead.
They're both pretty close, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to step on your toes.
It's all good. I know Couch got it. I know from watching Couch last night, he got a practice run in. So
he did. He's been practicing a lot, I know. Couch, what are you doing to me?
He has to have at least a little bit of swag going on.
But anyway, so they pick up their first teammate, Kaylee, and they're going to pick up Ben's first spell here, which is the Cure spell, and that's going to come into play when we get to the first boss coming up in a little bit here. The first real, like, big boss, anyway.
I don't know if I would call the Minotaur really a boss. He's kind of a little bit of a joke.
Well, I mean, if you're playing casually and you're not really familiar with the game, I'm not sure why one of the timers is not going. But considering that the actual time is being recorded on SRL channel, it should be fine. Doesn't matter. But for these first few battles, you're going to want to switch Kaylee between manual and auto, because Benjamin is very weak at the beginning of the game. Your partner is always quite stronger than you are, and you don't want Kaylee swiping your half-killed monsters. It's a lot faster if you can just have Ben finish off the half-killed monster and have Kaylee finish off something else. And so here, in the Minotaur fight coming up on Couch's side, we're actually going to employ the use of the life spell. Even though the Minotaur is technically not an undead creature, it acts like an undead creature, and therefore the life spell is very potent against it, and there's quite a few monsters in this game where that is true.
Yes, there's at least 3 that we use the life spell on, or the exit spell on for bosses that just instantly die, and it's pretty great.
It is. It definitely makes some of these fights a lot easier.
Alright, so Couch has lost Kaylee and picking up the most useless party member we can possibly get in the entire run. The Tristram guy.
You mean missed him?
Yeah. I'm feeling it now with him.
Because Tristram misses often with those terrible...
Often.
terrible ninja stars of his.
Well, when we do this, both runners have done a thing called the resistance glitch off the start of this, where basically every party member they have is going to have a all the resistances of the final Phoebe we get in the game. So, even though he may have some Doom Dance resistance, he doesn't have it here.
Right, and it's beneficial in a lot of ways, and it's been found to be pretty much the best of the characters to get the resistance from. But it does still definitely have its drawbacks. For instance, like Riku just said, with the Doom Dance, it also does not give us a resistance to petrify at any point in the game either. And in this first dungeon with the enemy formations, you want to fight 2 enemies or less, especially because Tristram's Ninja Stars do have such a high chance of missing here. So anytime the players encounter a 3-set, if they do encounter a 3-set, they are going to probably run away and then come back and try again. The monster's formation will vary depending on when you enter the battle. Sometimes it'll be 3, sometimes it'll be 2, sometimes it'll be 1, so it depends. It's totally RNG. Everything in this game is RNG.
I don't think you can play a game with more RNG than this.
I'm sure we could find something. But we're all making poor life choices today.
Yes, we are. One thing to note also is once they get through the room that Couch is in and go into the next one, they're going to pick up some seeds, and once we grab those seeds, we're going to want some 3 monster encounters in here just to dupe a couple seeds before we reach the boss of this area.
Right, because you don't want to waste your easy battles if you don't have to, but unfortunately, if they haven't been able to hit a 3-monster battle by the time they get to the boss, they will probably just dupe the seeds and run anyhow.
Alright, so looking at both runners right now, they're about... Couch is about 2 encounters ahead.
Yeah, so Couch is going to pick up his seeds now. And we'll see when he chooses to actually dupe them. Yep, this will probably be a fight where he dupes them. Yep, there we go. So, in the older games, by using the seed on Benjamin and going into Tristram's turn, the game thinks that you've used the seed. So when you run away, it's like kind of giving you back an extra seed. It doesn't realize, oh, hey, I didn't really use this seed. At least that is my understanding of it. I could be totally wrong because I'm very new to this game. Wow, he got 2 battles where he can dupe. Nice.
The glitches in this game are super easy to pull off. Like, I've not seen any glitches that are as easy to pull off as these ones.
It's kind of nice. Some glitches in other games used to give me the worst anxiety that I was going to mess up.
Yeah, I love that this game's got just such a simple set of glitches that we do, and we only really use 2 glitches really throughout the run and an exploit.
Right, one of the glitches is going to lead to a major skip of like a quarter of the game, which is, of course, very helpful.
Yeah, because nobody wants to do that area that we skip.
What area? There's no area over there. Don't lie to the people.
When you do 100%, there is. It's not a fun area.
Door here. So Flamosaur is the first main boss, and he is considered an undead type, so spells like Cure Spell, I can English, I know it's early, but I can English, is going to work pretty well against him. It's actually the most potent attack you have. And once we run out of Cure Spells, Couch will probably, and JC as well, probably switch to the Quake spell that we just picked up a little while ago, and that was a nice crit from Tristram. Wow! So the nice thing is that Tristan at least is a good meat shield. He has a reasonable amount of defense against most of the Flamethrower's attacks. But if he does get too low, which you're seeing on JC's side right now, you need to have him life himself. Life is kind of like your cure-all. It does heal, it does cure, and it will revive you at the same time. And but Tristan is not programmed to do it on himself. So if you let him die and you're not close enough to finish the boss fight, then things can get a little hairy, and Ben is very weak. So you want to keep Tristram alive if he gets too low in HP.
Looking at Couch, he didn't get trolled at this boss, thankfully.
That's good.
Yeah.
JC having a little bit of trouble though. He's got to cure up his Tristram again pretty soon. There we go. Oh no!
Yeah, that's the problem with waiting too long to cure up Tristram in this fight, is that Tristram actually doesn't go before the boss here a lot of the time, so...
Yeah, Tristram does not have the best agility, so JC is going to have to repeat this fight, unfortunately. The good thing about this game is, of course, that if you die in a fight, you don't get sent all the way back to your save spot or all the way back to a dungeon beginning. You just have to say, yeah, I want to continue. I don't want to quit. So there's no reason to save throughout the run or anything else like that, which is very nice. Way out of the bone dungeon. He's going to pick up his small shield for some extra defense, and I believe it has resistance to something. I don't remember offhand, but mostly for a little bit of extra defense. And he's going to pick up cure potions on the way out. So the order in which we pick up the items from the brown chest is actually very important. It's going to affect how we do the glitch for the skip later on. Oh, I hope he's gonna heal Tristram soon. There we go. Okay. Okay, this is fine.
So it gives us some extra speed, that steel shield that we pick up here.
Oh, it's extra speed. Thank you.
Yes, it is. So that's really helpful for us later on, just to keep us up a little bit closer to the enemies when we're going to be underleveled throughout the entirety of this run now.
Right. It's not so bad in the beginning because you are underleveled, yes, but it's not a huge discrepancy until after we get into the last area of the game.
Yeah.
So we gave the elixir to Kaylee. Couch is going to make his way into the focus tower and on to the next area of Aquaria, while JC is through the Flamosaur fight. So the second fight went just fine.
So one thing we're going to notice when the runners are walking through the focus towers, most times they're going to be picking up those explosives there. And the reason for that is because we need lots of explosives by the end of this game, and we use a lot of them.
Oh, that's interesting. Couch is picking up the fire spell. It's not mandatory for the run, but it does make it a little bit easier when you get to the ice pyramid.
Yeah, it makes it so you can save a few bombs here and there in the ice pyramid, which is really nice.
Right, bomb management is going to be pretty critical for the next area. As he mashes too hard and puts down a bomb.
I do that.
That's okay, we all do it.
I like when I open up the so I open up that chest all the time in the focus tower, and then I open up the door and I keep on mashing too hard through the door. I throw a bomb on the door.
Yep.
Always do it.
But we picked up Phoebe. Phoebe is Bae. She is one of the better characters that you're going to pick up along the way, if not the best, personal opinion. But She is very magically inclined, which is nice. And she also just knows the right thing to use against groups of same enemies. So as Couch goes into the Wintry Temple here, there will be a lot of opportunities to leave Phoebe on auto, because if all 3 enemies or 2 enemies here you see are the same, Phoebe's like, oh, I got this. I can use this spell against you and you're going to be weak against it. And it does save a little bit of time. But unfortunately, as soon as one of the enemies is different from the others, Phoebe gets a little confused and you have to manually use the magic for her.
Yeah, you have to question her life choices at that point. JaySee not picking up the cure potions here.
Oh, he picks up the cure that's over by where Flamosaur is.
Okay, so
he does it just a little bit differently.
Yeah, I noticed some runners have different ways they move through this game, and there's some runners that have a little bit of diversion from other runners. Like, I know I've seen some runners get the arrow spell when they have Tristan still in the party, or some people just wait until they get Kaylee in the party.
Yeah.
So
right, it depends on preference, really, because only certain things are small time saves here and there, but that's not a huge one. And JC's going to be making his way over to Aquaria now as well, as Couch makes his way towards the inner part of the Wintry Cave. So Aquaria has quite a few areas to it that you have to go through. It's the start of having to go through a lot of different areas. You're going to see when we get to the Windia area that it's going to be even more so. That was very smart. See, Couch ran away from the fight that had the poison toad and came back and had 3 very easy scorpions to fight. So what monsters you get is completely 100% random.
Yeah, each formation has like a set number of choices it can throw in for it. Like these 3 hedgehogs, it can either be the 3 hedgehogs together, it can be 2 of them, I think. I'm not sure if it can be 1 of them. I haven't seen 1 of them before.
I haven't seen 1 of them either.
But it can also be 2 of them with one of the scorpions.
The other thing that our runners are going to want to keep track of in this cave is Phoebe's magic count. The reason that we dupe the seeds is so that Phoebe has enough magic to carry us through these dungeons, and it would be much, much harder if she suddenly ran out of magic, like right here.
Yeah, so it's really nice that we can dupe the seeds, because if we couldn't dupe things in this game, it would make it a lot harder for the speedrun.
So Couch is almost to the last area of this cave, which is good. And JC is quickly gaining on him. Hopefully, JC will have some good RNG and he'll be able to catch up a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely one of the places where we're going to see the biggest change in leaders, or like a bigger gap happen for leaders, or it staying around the same is going to be when we get to the wind area, because that's where most of our RNG starts happening. Alright, so Couch is making it to the final area, and so if Couch is paying attention to his magic cast, the main one we need to pay attention for in this entire cave is her thunder cast, which he only has 5 of. So we count those out just to make sure that we use seeds at the exact right point to try to maximize on our, or cut back on how much time we have to spend in our menus.
Right, and I mean, if worse comes to worse, if you have to use an extra seed, I mean, you saw in the first dungeon, they're very easy, very quick to duplicate. One of the reasons that you really wanted that extra speed from the shield, because they love to cast Riddle, which is a confusion spell. And if Benjamin doesn't get off the bomb attack first, then there is a good chance that he will use Riddle on both your party members, and you might die and have to restart the battle. So here's another one of the mini-bosses, which is the Squidite. The Squidite is mostly going to be attacked manually by Phoebe's arrows, her bow of grace. Phoebe has a relatively high chance to crit with this, and therefore it makes the fight pretty quick. She's also just awesome, so she can really tank through this fight pretty well.
Yeah, and one thing you guys will notice when we are playing through this is that they like to reuse their sprites a lot.
Well, typical Final Fantasy fashion to just swap the color palettes.
Yeah, but usually you don't see like a boss that you've fought in the games that get reused. In this game, though, that is the case, where you get to see bosses that get to be used in other areas for some of the enemies. It's only the mini-bosses, not like the major bosses, but we still get to see them multiple times for some of them.
Well, you do still get some color swaps of the main bosses, but we'll save that for later. But, I mean, it's mostly used for it's a memory thing. I mean, the carts can only hold so much memory. Yeah. Even though this is a relatively short game, having just the color swaps for the monsters does save on a lot of memory. A little bit of plot here. So the reason they came into the Wintry Cave at all is to get the Libra crest. Wow, I really can't speak today. And they're going to take it back to the Libra Cave and try to get Wake Water to help revive Aquaria, which has been frozen solid. That's Phoebe's main quest in this part of the game, is to unfreeze Aquaria.
But we're going to see how well that prevails in just a second here.
Right. And JaySee is going to make his way in just after this battle into the last area of the Wintry Cave as well. And by the way, don't be fooled. Even though these, like the Squidite is a mini boss, or coming up is the crab, mini bosses can still troll the hell out of you.
All right, so this is like the only time that we're gonna talk to this guy here in the entire run. It's just because he has the Wake Water that we need. Because for some reason the spring is completely gone.
Plot device. And it's really funny when there is a randomizer for this game, by the way, and it is awesome if you haven't checked it out. But in playing the randomizer once, I actually got the Wake Water in a treasure chest somewhere. I'm thinking, oh yeah, I can skip this little cutscene. You can't ever skip that cutscene, even if you have the Wake Water. It's insane. The will softlock if you skip that cutscene and Phoebe leaves your party. I did not know that. So it is a mandatory cutscene, regardless of anything else.
Alright, so now that we've gone back to Aquaria and healed the one plant that we could with the little bit of Wake Water we had, we stop in the end just so we don't have to use as many seeds and get a full heal. And we head on into the Fall Basin, where we're gonna really break where we go in this.
Right. If you played this game casually, there's a certain way that you're used to pushing the ice pullers around, and it leads you first up around to the left side, and then it leads you up the right side, and then around to the center. But we're going to skip a couple of the battles in here.
Also, for most of the battles in here, we leave Phoebe on auto for most of them, but Lamias can actually cause us a little bit of problems, because they can have more than just Lamias in it. They can also have the desert hags that we've been fighting here, and we have to manually use Phoebe at that point in time.
Right. But there are certain strats for every monster formation. Granted, there is always an alternative because obviously there's no one way to do things, but there is always a fastest way to do things.
Yeah. And later on, when we get to the wind area, the formations are really going to make a difference for paying attention to, because we're going to have to deal with formations in certain ways to ensure that we actually win these encounters later on, because we're underleveled at that point, so knowing how to deal with the fights at that point in time is very important for this run.
Right. So here is the small break in this area. By pushing the blocks into that formation, you entirely skip the 2 battles on the upper right-hand side. So just, it's not, you know, it's not half an hour's worth of time save, but it's still a few minutes worth of time save, so it is awesome. And a lot of these mini-boss battles are just kind of knowing, how do I get rid of the 2 monsters on the side as quickly as possible so that I can focus on the mini-boss? And of course, everyone has their own little strats of how to do so.
Alright, so once we get the crowd to this point, we are going to cast Thunder, and we're either going to throw bombs or use the axe. There's drawbacks to both. So the bombs will always hit, which is nice. Whereas the axe can miss, but you can also have the chance to crit with it.
Right, and it does a little bit more damage as well, I believe. Not much, but a little bit.
So I know that a lot of people who do decide to not pick up fire will usually choose to go with the axe for this, just so they have the extra bombs when they're going into the ice pyramid, which is the next area we're going to be heading to.
Yeah, fire works okay, but it doesn't work as well as the thunder spell does at any rate, so...
No, but I mean, like, when we hit the next area, they would use the axe instead of the bombs just to save a little bit of their bomb count for in the pyramid. If they don't have the fire spell.
Right. Well, as long as you have about 30-something bombs, you're usually fine, because that's about what I end up with. And even if you end up with no bombs by the end of this dungeon, you can pick up a group of 10 on the way out and be fine for the next part.
Yeah. And the group of 10 is actually right beside that chest that Coach just picked up there.
Right. So that was his next item in the inventory list, which is the refreshers. And there's just going to be one more thing he's going to have to pick up to complete that top row, and that'll be, I believe, on the 4th floor of this dungeon. He'll pick up his heal potions. Oh, that is not a nice formation to get with those Lamias.
No. And a miss from Benjamin there.
Oh, Benjamin.
Always cursed to miss.
So the ice pyramid is a little bit of a slow go. It is a fairly big dungeon for this point in the game. It's not the worst slug. We'll get to that.
Yes.
My favorite thing in the whole game. But it's still... Huh?
Isn't that everyone's favorite thing?
Well, we might be talking about 2 different things.
No, I know what you're talking about. It's everyone's favorite place. I know it. That beautiful tree.
Okay. Yes, we are talking about the same thing. Yeah, the tree coming up later in the game is the worst slug. It is very slow because it's a slug, and then it's another slug, and then it's another slug, and then it's more enemies and another slug, and it just keeps going and it never ends. But it's fine. So, I think to see what time JC finishes this area, but I think he's about 2 to 3 minutes behind at this point. But that doesn't mean anything, because the real RNG is going to happen later in the game when we get to the Windia area, so don't count JC out yet.
Yes, there's still a lot of things that can really change the outcome of this match. And
yes,
the biggest one everyone just hates. Yes, that jerk bird later
yes.
on.
Well, the first of the jerk birds, at least. I lost a PB quite a few times to the second one.
Oh, I did too. Yesterday, I had a run that was 15 minutes ahead. Ran to the next jerk bird, and suddenly I was only 7 minutes ahead.
Yeah. See, this is, if you look over on Couch's screen, this is what I'm talking about with the riddle spell. The riddle spell sucks. And if Phoebe gets riddled before she even gets an attack off, or if something misses, it is not a fun battle, and you better hope that you can run away real quick. Or somebody snaps out of it real quick.
Alright, so now
looks like JC is opting for the axe over here, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets any crits.
So Couch has made it to the third floor of the ice pyramid. We're gonna have to go to the right before we go to the left side.
I hate that.
Yeah. It just seems like it's out of the way, and it seems like there's no point of going over here, but we have to go over this way just so we can go and push one button. That's all we have to do.
We gotta poke the statue.
Yep. I think...
Wow. That was a nice crab fight, though. I gotta give it to JC.
Yeah, I've always done the crab fight with the axe, and usually I get pretty good luck with it. So I don't know. I personally prefer using the axe because of just like it is personal preference, but I like using the axe just because of the chance that I have to crit with it.
Well, like you said, it does save the bomb, so
yeah. Especially for somebody who doesn't pick up the fire spell for this boss here, because this boss here can kind of suck if you run out of bombs in it.
Well, it just makes the going a little bit slower.
Yep.
And now we get to go all the way to the left.
Yep.
So, knowing the order in which your items appear and where your magics are is also very important to making this run a little bit faster, making your menuing a little bit faster. Unfortunately, you can't rotate between your items as you're walking. You do have to be stationary, although you can rotate between them during cutscenes.
Yeah, I found that really weird that you could rotate between them during cutscenes, but we're going to use that to our advantage at some points when we know we need a different item than we have equipped. Just to save us a little bit of time.
That was close before, though. I saw that Phoebe got petrified in that last fight. Those stony birds are very good for that. They're good for throwing out the double petrification. Boom, you have to restart your fight.
And you're going to notice that's a very common occurring theme throughout the entirety of this run is the double petrify everywhere.
The bosses that control you, sometimes even the regular minions control you, especially when you get later into the game, and they also have doom spells. Love when they have doom spells.
Oh, I love Doom Dance. It's my favorite spell in the entire game.
Oh man, it's so great. I just love to be Doom Danced repeatedly.
Yeah. Especially at that one boss on the top of a mountain. Yeah. Yesterday after my run, I actually had to go and rename all my splits.
Well, you didn't have to. You just chose to.
I had to make it more fun for me. They were pretty plain before. Now they're better. And I had to think of some clever things to name some of the bosses. Like, so I named this boss, its split as Puddle, that's coming up. Yep.
So once Couch goes up to the next floor here, he's actually going to be falling back down to this particular floor to pick up a couple of more items. In particular, he's going to pick up a set of noble armor. Again, when you pick it up is optional, and it is technically quicker to pick it up on the way out than the way in, but if you don't pick it up, then you run the risk of not having the water resistance it gives you for the Ice Golem boss, and that makes that fight a lot harder.
Yeah. Ice Golem can be pretty trolly. I know I've had lots of times where Phoebe dies off pretty early on in that fight, and then you're just like, well, just gotta wait for it to reset now.
Yeah, there's a couple of fights Phoebe can tank through towards the beginning, but this boss fight coming up is definitely not one you want to try to tank through with her alone, or definitely not with Benjamin.
No, the one that you can really do it on is the squid, because Phoebe just does so much damage that you can just tank that one. Typically,
Right.
You'll be okay.
It's a little risky to just have Phoebe alive for boss battles.
Yeah. So now that Coach has done this floor, he has to walk all the way around that room again.
And go back upstairs. I just love the Ice Pyramids layout. It's so wonderful.
I have to say, the Ice Pyramid was my second least favorite dungeon in my casual run of this game when I did it before this tournament here.
Yes, learning to speedrun this game gives you a newfound appreciation for this dungeon and hatred of others.
Well, when I did my casual run, I decided to 100% the game. Because I wanted to know where everything was, because I'd never played through the game before. So, I played through it casually, and I 100%ed it, and I found all the awesome items throughout the game. But, yeah, definitely the place we skipped, that Lava Dome place. It's got great music, like, amazing music at it, but...
It does, and it has some very awesome magic spells as well.
Yeah, but we just skip it.
By the way, no matter which side you fall through when you're going through that center section, you always end up on the same tile. So it doesn't matter if you go left, you go right, you go up, you go down. You're still going to end up on the exact same tile. Oh no. Couch went into that battle thinking, oh, Phoebe's just going to use Thunder on them both. But unfortunately, when your partner's HP falls below half, they automatically will use Cure on themselves. But it still worked out okay, so he's fine.
Unless you're Tristram.
Well, I mean, Tristram doesn't have a Cure spell, so it is different.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if your partner was programmed to use life on themselves before they died.
So one thing to notice is that there's the Ice Golem we're gonna be fighting off. It's just chilling up on that ledge there. We don't need to talk to him there. We just walk away.
Somebody only learned that very recently.
Yep, I always talk to him because I thought I had to talk to him for him to disappear and go to the next area, but nope. You can just walk right past him and not have to worry about talking to him. He'll still be up there.
Yep. So, Couch getting some pretty nasty RNG fight on this Sphinx fight here. This is what I'm talking about with the double riddle. Either you want to run away and restart the fight, or you want to pray that somebody comes out of it real fast. The Sphinxes are very nasty like that. And so now, Couch is going to be moving on to the Ice Golem fight. But JC is making up a little bit of time for every battle that Couch has bad RNG on, so... like I said, anything can still happen, don't count him out yet.
Alright, so since Couch picked up the fire spell, he'll just be using fire with both of his characters throughout the whole fight.
Right, since it's an ice golem, obviously, fire is going to do more damage to it. Although it doesn't really seem to do all that much more damage than the bombs do. I guess that's why they make it an optional pickup. Because I think the bombs do either 406 or 412, and it looks like the fire spell only does maybe 20, 30 HP more damage.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And this is pretty much the only place that you use the fire spell in the entire run. So really, once you get past this area, it's not really useful. Just like Quake is only useful for a few fights, and it looks like Couch might be having to restart this fight here.
Okay. Oh man, yeah, his VB fell. Oh my goodness. In these boss battles, because Ben is so weak to everything, when your partner goes down, not to mention there is a very unfortunate thing in this game where the enemies can use magic and have magic crit on you, but you can't crit on them with magic, which I hate so much.
Yeah, it would be nice if we could actually, get a crit every once in a while with our magic, but I guess the game decided to just be unfair. Couch losing Phoebe again.
He's giving JC a lot of time to catch up here. It's not so good. It's good for JC, not good for Couch.
Yeah. And that's why whenever I see Phoebe go down below half health, I always make sure I swap her onto auto, just so she'll do a quick cure on herself, or even if I'm down as well, she'll do cure on both of us. And
sometimes I don't even wait that long. Get paranoid after a while of playing this game.
For some bosses, yes. I will agree that there's just points where you're just like, no, she needs to heal now.
But JC is now four battles behind Couch, so he's done a lot of catching up in the meantime.
Yeah, and it looks like JC is actually doing pretty good for his bomb count right now. He'll have almost the perfect amount left over when he gets to the ice golem here. So when he gets to the ice golem, that's what I should say. He's only got to use maybe one more bomb, maybe two.
Hopefully, that's all he has to do. Yeah. Ooh, Couch going for some YOLO strats. I hope it pays off. And it does!
But yeah, one thing you'll notice if you ever pick up this game as a speed run, if you're ever ahead of your PB, there's gonna be something that trolls you at the end. Almost guaranteed, every time.
Oh. That's interesting. Couch falling... Usually we fall one step to the right over there, just because it's a little faster to get out of this place, but I didn't know there was extra bombs in there. That's good to know.
Yeah, I didn't know there were 2 chests of bombs in there. That would be really nice to know.
I mean, really, all you need is the 10 to pick up on the way out to get through the exit battlefield, which is where Couch is going to go next, but it is still kind of nice to know that they're there. I'm sure, though, if you pick them up while Phoebe is in your party, they're arrows and not bombs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like that first bomb chest that's in the first chest that's in here, it's actually arrows if you pick them up with Phoebe. But if you wait till you just have Benjamin, they're explosives. So.
Right, that tends to be the trend with most of your partners who have usable items. It's the same with Tristram and his ninja stars. If you have Tristram in the party, then they're ninja stars. If you don't, then they're bombs.
Yeah. One thing that's nice about knowing that, though, is that Couch might not have to take as many trips down to grab those bombs in the focus tower now for later on in the game.
This is true, and he's not even picking up the bombs on the way out. The unfortunate thing with the Ice Golem fight is that once he is below a certain HP, he uses the Water Drain spell quite frequently. Not all the time, but quite frequently, and he can recharge some of his health. Part of the resistance glitch is often when an enemy tries to use Absorb on your partner, it ends up being damage to them and a cure for your partner. But the Water Draining spell that the Ice Golem has, unfortunately, doesn't work that way.
What? Oh no.
Oh, he just cured him. Oh no.
JaySee just wants this fight to be extra long, I guess.
Fake. I had to stare at that for a minute. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I think he lifed it by accident, thinking that he was using something else.
Oh, man. Come on, JaySee, you got this. You can do this. On the other side of things, as you're going through the exit battlefields, what you want to see is nothing but squids. The Sphinx battles are not something that Ben can handle on his own right now, or ever at this point. So if you get Sphinxes, you do have to run away from them and keep trying until you get a single squid. On average, there's usually about 3 to 5 Sphinxes for the entire set of 10 battles. Oh no, and he's out of fire spells.
I wonder if he's out of cure spells too for Phoebe.
That seems unlikely. She has an awful lot of cure. He's
cure with Benjamin though and just attack with Phoebe, so...
Yeah, that is a little unusual because the bombs will do more damage than her arrows will.
Yeah.
Oh, Phoebe, you're not supposed to miss. You're not Tristram. But you can see that the boss is using that restorative spell almost every turn here, and it's making it much more difficult than it should be.
Alright, so he should kill it this turn here.
There we go. Okay.
There it is.
Oh no, used up. That's what happened. Just selected the wrong thing for his cure spell. Well, he is through it. It is fine. He's gonna move on to the exit spell battlefield, as Couch is gonna move on to the next area, and we're gonna see our first big skip here.
Yep, so once we walk all the way up to Fireberg with our screen shaking like a billion times, that screen shake feels like it takes forever to get through when you're speedrunning this. But once we get through that, we're gonna go into the hotel. It's called the hotel there. It's the only place it's a hotel. It's not an inn here. But we're gonna buy ourselves some seeds. And our seeds we're gonna buy is going to be for a value of 0, and they're going to give us 0 seeds. So we got those seeds, and we're going to use them right away. And we're going to have our inventory look weird. We're going to get sky coins. And then we're going to buy ourselves 19 cure potions to get the items we need to continue on from here. And we're just going to leave.
Right. Technically, what you're doing when you're using the 0 seeds is you're kind of underflowing the inventory. And in addition to giving you the 255 seeds, it says 99 because it can't say more than that. The inventory can't handle it. And therefore, you end up with the 3 sky coins in your inventory next to it. And then by buying, I'm not sure how the 19 cure thing works, but it does, and it gives you the fire coin as well, allowing you to skip the entire area of Fireburg and everything within it.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's just that the game gets confused because it doesn't have anywhere to put your cure potions at all.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
So,
thank you.
Because of that, the game is just like, well, you can't hold cure potions because your inventory is already filled up with stuff. So we're going to give you items that you need to progress.
Right, and then Couch just pulled a sandwich out of his pocket. It fell off the bridge, and he's like, "Hey, that was my sandwich. I'm hungry." And then he exits the mummy.
Just like, no, that was not okay.
Which my delicious corned beef and sauerkraut sandwich. I was gonna eat that, man. I was hungry.
And then we get some awesome music here from Couch's side.
And then, unfortunately, Tristram comes back.
Yeah. I don't know why he's got the best theme out of everybody in the game, and then he's the worst character. Because the theme is pretty great.
It is. It's very true. So we're going to make our way into the forest here, and we're going to approach the tree. Not going to be able to get in yet, but we're going to approach it. But in this area, with only the life spell at his disposable, yeah, that was good. At his disposal, Tristram is fairly useless, especially on the mummies. He can do more damage to the ghosts, but the mummies mostly just have to be exited here. So you exit them off the battlefield. Anytime you use exit against them, Ben does not pick up HP from them, which is actually what we want to happen. There are certain levels as you reach the end of the game, and it becomes more important at this part and onwards that we don't want to go beyond certain levels because it messes up how we do the end of the game strats.
So, one thing to note with the mummies is that you could get lucky with Tristram, and if he gets a critical on them, it will actually be faster, but the chance of getting a crit are very low.
Unfortunately, yes.
Also, one thing to note with the exit spell is it can miss, and it misses whenever you need it to actually hit. Thankfully, the encounter there, it wasn't too bad that it missed, because Tristram can take out the ghosts with one hit, but
it still sucks when it does.
Yeah. So on JC's side here, we see him actually switching between the sword and the bombs, and that's just to give him a little extra speed, to give him a chance to not get instantly outsped by the if there's the Sphinx in the battle. I'm not sure if it really helps.
Doesn't always work though.
Yeah.
More often than not, I see that it doesn't really work too well, unfortunately.
Alright, so Couch talked to the tree, and the tree was just like, I'm not talking to you guys. And Tristram actually reminds us, hey, you know somebody likes trees, don't you?
Yeah, you have that tree hugger, Kaylee. Oh yeah, Kaylee. She's probably made her way to Aquaria by now. Let's go to Aquaria for the 5th time.
And we don't even go to Kaylee right away. We just like, nope, we don't need her yet. So we decided to go into... Well,
technically, if you go to...
Yeah, if you go there... Yeah,
they tell you she's sleeping, come back later, but we don't need that extra cutscene, so we just go right down to Spencer's place to get rid of Tristram.
Yeah, if you talk to Phoebe, you go into Phoebe's house, and then Phoebe's just like, no, she's sleeping. Leave her alone. Go to Spencer's place and go talk with Spencer. You're just like, and then Benjamin does his shrug that he always does. I don't think he actually shrugs there, but you know, it should be there.
So this part I always liked. I find it really funny. You get these two old guys like, oh yeah, let's go treasure hunting. Yeah, that sounds great. Wait. So Tristram gives him his dragon claws, which is what we're really gonna need a lot for the upcoming game. And then for some reason, Phoebe comes in and she's like, oh, I'm gonna clear away this dirt and use an explosive. This is cave everything in. So she comes running out before the cave in.
She's like, I know what's happening here.
And she buries her grandpa's place.
Yep. She's like, he's not living in this cave anymore. Put him into a retirement home now.
But now that Phoebe has destroyed her grandpa's place, now Kaylee is awake from the explosions and we can go get her.
Also, Kaylee doesn't play by Final Fantasy rules.
Oh, yes. Anytime you get a partner back for the second time, they are always much more buff than you are.
Yeah,
I don't know what she was doing, but she was swinging that axe.
Kaylee plays by Elder Scroll rules. She sleeps and gains levels.
But she comes equipped with the arrow spell, and the arrow spell is going to be useful for a lot of the monsters coming up. And because it's that useful, we're going to go pick it up for Ben too.
Yep. One thing that lots of runners I've noticed are doing is they're walking all the way through first, and then going back in, so they can actually use exit right after getting the spell. It does save a little bit of time doing that.
Yeah, a little bit. Any little bit of time save is always good.
Yeah. Also, you'll notice that, like, that encounter there, even though Benjamin's only level 11, it was still a strike first for them. And that encounter usually is. And it's because of how the enemies are coded in that area. Because they're actually previous enemies, other than one of them, that are in that area. So, because of that, we outspeed the main monster in the formation, which is the Minotaur that was back in the Bone Dungeon.
But Kaylee is much more useful against these monsters because of her arrow spell, and nicely enough, despite the fact that this is the windier area, everything is weak to wind. Not everything, but most things.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere from here on out, Kaylee is just using arrow against everything.
Right.
Which, it's kind of weird that a bird is weak to wind, don't you think?
Yes and no. I mean, I would imagine, like, if you're hitting a bird with a tornado, there's a chance that, you know, they can get swept up in the wind, and then that can damage their wings. I'm speaking real life and not video game logic, but that's the best I can do here. And why wind is useful on a chimera, I still haven't figured that one out.
I don't know, wind is useful against anything that we use it against. Like, why is it useful against mummies?
Blow the bandages off.
What about skeletons with shields and swords?
That one I can't. I can't make my way through.
And dead trees. Wind is weak against the dead trees in here too. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't use the arrow spell against the trees. See, this proves my point, because after she uses the arrow spell, they're missing half their bandages. I mean, come on. and it blows them apart. The chat has some interesting ideas for us. Thank you very much, chat. We appreciate that. Yeah, since they're dead trees, I mean, axe makes sense.
Yeah, axe makes sense against them, yes. But arrow, not so much.
I don't know why it works on the scorpions. Because the scorpions are also weak to the axe, but, hey, whatever.
The game is just being how it wants to be.
Yeah, Mystic Quest is gonna Mystic Quest.
So now we're gonna get to see grappling hooks all over the place. This just turned into Zelda here. We got our hook shot, we're ready to go.
Except that we didn't have to bonk in the hookshot cave to get it. But the Dragon Claws do serve another useful purpose besides that. The Dragon Claws actually do give a boost to the magic being used at the time as well. So if you're going to use magic against an enemy, you do want to have the Dragon Claws equipped.
Also, another thing that the Dragon Claw has that's nice is it can petrify. And when you petrify an enemy with it, they instantly die.
Right.
So
you get a one-shot kill, you get magic boost, and you get an impromptu grappling hook. So you have to have the hook attached to grapple across. You have to have the sword to poke the tree faces open. I hate this tree so much.
I think the thing I hate the most about this tree is just the oozes. Which, as we travel through this way, we're going to be fighting a few worms here, and there's a few different strats for these worms depending on the formations. So there's two different ways to deal with these formations of 3. And they aren't always reliable, but they can work. Basically, if you have 3, you can either arrow all with both characters, which is quite risky because all 3 of the worms will get turns. Or you can either attack or use arrow and use an exit spell with Benjamin and take out one of them with Kaylee automatically, and then take out the other one with... Hopefully take out another one with Benjamin in the next turn.
Yeah, but ideally you want to see 2 of these leeches because, as you can see, Kelly can just one-shot them with the arrow spell.
Yeah. But now that we've gone to this room here, we might be seeing some new formations with these leeches. Which...
I always try to run away from those formations because they suck.
Yeah, they kind of do. And
there you go. So, those oozes are a big pain in the butt, mostly because they have a built-in wall spell, essentially, and can reflect any and all magic back at you. So, if you try to magic everything, the ooze will reflect it back at you. And unlike a lot of the other games where it reflects back at you like at a reduction, kind of the original attack, they reflect it back at you at full strength. So however much damage you were going to do to them, they are going to do to you.
Yeah, I think everything in this game that reflects magic deals the exact same amount of damage you would do to them to you. And it sucks. Because Pazuzu does that to you. Right.
So Pazuzu can do it, Duck can do it, and the Beholders can do it.
Yeah. So, on JC's side, you got to see, after he got his arrow spell, he actually, before he went in to do the arrow, collect his arrow spell, he actually went out of the other way to just be able to use X after collecting that spell.
Right, so he saved a few seconds there. But we're at this point in the game, we're kind of at a point where all the boss monsters and mini bosses are super trolly because of spells like Doom Dance, and Gidra coming up has a massive amount of status effect spells, Paralyze and Petrify and whatnot.
Yeah, so from here on out, the lead can really switch back and forth, especially with our next two dungeons have really bad boss fights in them.
But due to the fact that we skipped the entire fire area, essentially, this is where Ben's level really is critical, and he's going to die a lot, as you've been seeing. It's normal. It happens. This is why we have, 255 seeds to play with. We can cure him and bring him back as many times as we need to. Hopefully not too many, because it does take time every single, every time we have to go into the menu to do it. But it's gonna happen.
So, like we said, lots of things can petrify. Those toads there can petrify you. Just everything petrifies at this point in the game.
Petrify, Doom Dance are the two signatures of this area.
Yep. One thing we might see JC actually do here is sometimes people will actually decide to exit a specific monster in this formation, and usually it'll be the scorpion, just because the scorpion can poison you.
Right, it just takes a few more minutes again because you have to take time to heal yourself from it.
Yeah.
There's still so much of this tree left, and you would think Couch would be almost done, and he's not.
Yep. This tree is the longest part of the entire game, and it really is. Well, that's not really true. The longest part of the game is Pazuzu's Tower if you get a floor 2.
But you're so busy cursing at the fact that it's floor 2 that you don't realize.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like going in and you're like, floor 6. Floor 6. Come on, floor 6. And then you're disappointed when it's not floor 6. And you're like, well, maybe it'll be a floor 4. That's not floor 4, and then you just want to rage. This is how it works.
So he's got this slug to go through, and then he's got another slug to go through, and then he has to go around through another slug.
Yeah, well, Couch is at least getting close to the end here now, finally.
Right.
But it's still... He's still got a really long part that's gonna suck, because... We will see once he goes through here. You notice that there's lots of oozes in this room. I think there's 4 ooze fights you have to fight alone in this room.
Right, and you have to go through all of those ooze fights.
Yep. And then, in the next area as well, we're gonna have, I think, another 2 ooze fights, and we got, like, leeches and the skeletons again, and...
Like I said, a slog followed by another slog.
Yep.
Oh, and there's what I was talking about with the resistance glitch. So they tried to use Absorb on Kaylee, and instead of doing damage to Kaylee, it did damage to them.
Which is always fun to watch happen.
It's nice, because if Kaylee hits them with the axe first and then they do that, usually they end up killing themselves, which is good.
Yep. And
these are very unfortunate formations here.
Yeah,
Ideally,
definitely.
you just want 2 oozes just to be able to knock them out, but not have the Skulder with them.
Yeah, when you have the 2s, you have 2 options that you can do. You can either use the bombs or use the claw, and if you use the claw, you have the chance to petrify, which is nice, and instantly kill them. It's still going to take 2 turns anyways, but it's nice if you want to have that chance. It's not really always worth it, but...
Did Couch's screen freeze? Or is it just me?
It's frozen for me on the thing there. I don't know.
He might be having some internet troubles. He was having them the other day, so... Hopefully he'll be back up soon.
I know he's been having problems with his computer recently, so...
Yeah, that too. So hopefully he gets whatever it is fixed as soon as possible. And JaySee is making his way through the mushrooms, the first set of mushrooms here. There we go. Now Couch is back up and running.
Yes. So one thing that you might be noticing JaySee doing is you'll notice him doing some really weird drops and going through some areas really in a weird fashion. And that's just how the game was programmed for some areas. You can just like instantly walk off some edges and stuff and all that just to get close to where you need to be for them. And it's really a kind of a cool thing that you can you can drop off places that doesn't look like you're supposed to be able to leave from and everything. It's just a little bit of time save.
Right, well, it's more the fact that instead of climbing all the way up and over, he climbs up and then he slides one over to the left, and because there's nothing for him to hold on to there, he just drops to the floor, and it's a little bit faster, I think.
Yeah, but some places that you can't actually do that, and it's weird. Like, some places it's just like, know about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not even consistently that it does that.
Oh, Misty Quest, how we love you.
We love inconsistent games. Alright, so Coach has 2 more fights to do before he gets to fight the boss here. So he's getting really close now. Which is really good.
Right, which you can see why the 2 of us, and probably more, are not fans of this tree.
There's only one reason why I like this tree, and it's not even the tree itself. It's just one thing we get in the tree.
Oh, yes. We will, on the way out, we will be picking up the Meteor Spell. Meteor Spell makes the next area so much faster.
Yes. It makes us all very happy to have it.
Yeah, you know, the biggest part of this run is really, once you know where you're going, of course, and knowing your way around the different maps, is mostly figuring out how to get through the battle formations as quickly as possible. And it's really nice when you reach an area in the guide that says use arrow 1 and meteor for every form for every single battle.
Yes. And later on where you see it's just flare and white.
Yep.
Good.
Oh man, I hate that paralyze spell so much.
Oh. Wrong one.
A lot of damage, but...
And we have a petrified Benjamin now.
It's okay, because life heals everything.
Yes.
He's just so weak. going to want to heal his Kaylee soon as well.
Yeah, he's going to need to heal us Kaylee on the next turn here.
Yep, there he goes.
There it is. So Coach is actually getting pretty lucky. Like, Gidra's being pretty nice so far.
And JC is finally making his way towards the last 2 slogs of this particular area.
Yeah, so he's making up
I'm sure he's happy.
Lost time, yeah.
Wow, that was a really, really nice Gidra fight.
Yes, that was.
And then we've got Goon Kid! Woo!
Yes,
Goon Kid!
Goon Kid! Everyone's favorite part of the game, right there.
One of these days, I'm gonna have to play a different version and see what it says for other versions. Like, does it really say "Go on, kid," or does it say something else?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious about what it says in the Japanese version of this.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It would be really interesting if the trees were shaped like kana or kanji. That would be some impressive reprogramming.
But it wouldn't surprise me if it just said "Go on, kid" in there as well.
Yeah, them not wanting to bother changing anything.
Yeah. Other than just like, oh, this is we just need to change the language a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So here Couch is picking up his meteor spell, so even though the meteor spell would probably be helpful going through this tree, the amount of enemies and the time it takes to go through that little area is so much more time consuming when the monsters are actually there that it is just not worth it to pick it up on the way into the tree, and it is much quicker on the way out of the tree because there's like 4 monsters just to get into the area, and then there are poison toad fights all around the mushroom area that you have to go through.
Alright, so one thing that we noticed is we just went through an area that we don't have the crest for, but that's because we glitched into our inventory earlier when we glitched all the other stuff into our inventory as well. So we got our mega grenades, which we need to go through Pazuzu's tower. And now we're gonna buy the Cupid locket, which is going to help us out with the next area as well.
Well, not so much on Mount Gale, but more in Pazuzu's tower with the beholders especially. The Cupid locket protects us from the blind spell.
Yeah.
And goddamn, those beholders love to use blind on your party. And at least if Benjamin isn't blinded, it makes the battles much quicker.
Yeah, well...
Mount Gale is a relatively short area, but the boss, as Riku said before, boss is super trolly. There's a couple of different strats I've seen for people fighting Dullahan. One of the strats I've seen is to have one person continuously use heal on him. I believe Kaylee is the person to do it because Ben does more damage with the meteor spell. And using the heal spell on your enemy, in addition to giving you a neat little kind of like devil animation, pokey pokey with the little trident stick there, it can do different status effects to him. And what you want it to do, of course, is to paralyze Dullahan. Keep him from using anything, period.
But especially not using that Doom Dance.
Exactly.
For any of you who don't know what Doom Dance is, because maybe you haven't played the game or something like that, it's basically instant death spells. And the enemies are the only ones that get them.
Yep. But yeah, like we said, every formation in Mount Gale can be defeated with an arrow on a single target and then meteor to knock out the rest of them. But you really kind of do need the claw equipped, especially for the vampires here, because if you don't have the claw equipped with that little extra magic boost, the vampires will not die in one meteor turn. I learned that the hard way.
I did not know that. I just always have the claw equipped.
Right, well, I mean, it's not so bad with the other monsters up here, but for some reason, maybe the vampires are a little resistant to the earth spell, but they won't always die in one turn if you don't have the extra little magic boost from the claws.
So, one thing to note also here, because we're working our way through here, and we hit level 16, we want to be level 16, because it'll give us one extra, wizard spell cast.
Oh, it was nice. He got a 2 vampire when he ran out of meteor.
Yeah.
And vampires are weak to arrow, so...
See, I didn't even know that vampires actually could come in a 2 formation until earlier on yesterday. So I've never seen a 2 formation vampire before.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes they can. It's not common. It's pretty rare, but it can happen. And I think JC is over there on his last fight before Ghidra, and unfortunately not having a lot of luck with them. Because they use Riddle too! Oh, those confusion spells. So wonderful. But we'll see what kind of luck JC has with the Ghidra fight. Hopefully it's going to be just as good as Couch's.
Alright, so basically, the fight the Couch is in right now, it's basically just using Meteor the whole time to win, and it makes for a pretty easy fight as long as you don't have Doom Dance get casted on you.
Right. Because other than that, it's mostly Kaylee keeping up maintenance, health maintenance, or heal maintenance, and then she can knock off a few attacks if everybody's at a high enough HP value. Neither her arrow spell or her axe do as much, like nearly as much damage as Meteor does. They're both around 700 damage each, so she's not as useful in this fight as she has been, but she is good to use for health maintenance here.
And she will be extremely useful in the next fight we're going into after this.
Oh yeah, and Dullahan has way too much HP for a mini-boss.
Yeah, he really does have a lot of HP for being a mini-boss. Ooh, and JC having unlucky Ghidra there.
Oh. There should be like a thing as we go through more of these races. There should be death counters.
I've actually thought about adding a death counter onto my live split for one, specifically just for Mystic Quest. Just
oh no! And Couch's Kaylee is down, and he is down. He's got to restart this fight.
One thing to note is if you do have to restart a fight, you want it to be early on in the fight. You don't want it to be later on in the fight. You want it to be as early on as possible.
So that way you feel like you've wasted less time.
You do waste less time then, and it's great.
Feel like you haven't lost as many hours of your life.
So JC got really lucky there with one of Ghidra's things there. He actually paralyzed Benjamin, and next turn, instantly Benjamin was unparalyzed. So it's always nice to see that happen when you're fighting Ghidra.
It doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes Ben will stay paralyzed for so many turns, and you just want to smack him like, what are you thinking, Ben? Wake up!
Yep. And he's through Ghidra.
Not bad. Only one Ghidra death is really not such a bad thing.
No.
But we've got more Goon Kid! all the goon kids. Woo! But, of course, we still haven't reached the main point of contention here yet, which is Pazuzu's tower.
Coach will be coming up to that very shortly here.
And then we'll have to see what floor Pazuzu will come out on.
It's gonna be floor 3, I'm telling you.
Riku, please.
It's my favorite thing to tell everybody whenever I'm running this game in my chat. I'm just like, Pazuzu's gonna be on floor 3, guys. I'm not lying to them if it's a floor 2 Pazuzu, am I?
No, of course you're not lying to them. Technically, you're not lying to them at all. So, the deal is before you have to talk to Pazuzu once to begin with, and we typically do that on floor 3 because of the fact that he's just there. Exactly, White Zephyr. He's on every floor until you speak to him. So, because he's literally out in the open on floor 3, that's where we encounter him the first time, and then he will go to a random floor. But because of the fact that it is floor 3 that he's on to begin with, where we talk to him, technically he can't land there again after he moves. But if he's on floor 2, we have to chase him up to floor 3.
Yep.
But we don't want any floor 2s. Yeah, so like you can see Pazuzu's feet in the corner there on the first floor. So the way that going up Pazuzu's tower works is you're going up the odd number floors from 1, 3, 5 and then up to the roof. And then you're making your way downstairs one floor at a time to figure out where Pazuzu has gone to after you speak to him on floor 3. And there's a certain percentage of which floors he can appear on. But of course, we want him to be on floor 6 because that is the fastest way to get to Pazuzu. All we have to do is flip the switch, and boom, we can fight him right on floor 6.
Yep, and it is so amazing. I'm really sad that my first Pazuzu was a floor 6 because now whenever I do that, I'm never going to get gold split on it unless I get a floor 6.
I still have not had a floor 6. Makes me very sad every day of my life. But the time difference is humongous. If you are a newer runner, the difference between floor 6 and floor 2 can be about 12 to 14 minutes. If you're more experienced, then the difference between floor 6 and floor 2 is about 10 minutes. It's significant.
Okay, bye, Pazuzu.
Bye.
Just want to be
Please be on floor 6.
Just wanted to be his friend, and he's just like, no. Can you believe that guy?
Stupid bird. And of course, once you do find Pazuzu, he of course is a jerk bird, so he can be as trolly as he wants.
Yep.
Birds, man. Feels bad.
So, Pazuzu's Tower also feels like one of the longer slogs of the game. Especially just because of how long it actually gets with all the encounters you have to fight in here. There are so many encounters in here.
Yeah, and here's where the level maintenance actually becomes really important, because depending on what floor you find Pazuzu on is gonna basically determine what level you're gonna be at the end game. And we really want, ideally, for Benjamin to end up somewhere between level 20 and 22. Because there's a certain set of strats to use on Dark King for those levels. Anything that's higher than that, and there is a different set of strats that have to be used.
Yeah.
And it becomes a big pita. So those are the beholders I was mentioning earlier. They do have, again, a wall spell, the same as the oozes do. They are, thankfully, a little bit weak to bombs, which is nice, because we did get the mega grenades a few minutes ago. Well, more than a few minutes ago, but we did pick them up before going into Mount Gal.
I have to say, Couch's bomb count is going to be really tight here.
Well, I think if Pazuzu is on floor 2, I think you need 4 bombs in total. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah, his count is going to be really tight here, especially with him getting so many of these. Because the beholders aren't only in just the beholder encounters, like as you can see on Couch's side.
Well, the nice thing is, though, is that the beholders do have a... Well, they can be affected by the Petrify in the Dragon Claw. So
Yeah.
if there is only one beholder like this, using the Dragon Claw instead of the bombs is totally fine.
Alright, and we see that JaySee has finally got his way up to his boss here. So let's see what happens for him, because if he actually doesn't have any problems with this boss fight,
He'll
could
pick up
actually...
some time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Couch is in what we affectionately call the Hellway. These manticores are really bad news, and we want to get rid of as many of them as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, when you're using life, you have to manually move it up to the enemies every single time, which is annoying as heck, but it has to be done. And the quicker you get rid of the manticores, the better it is. But the manticores suck.
Yes, they really do. Basically, if you get the manticore encounter, you're hoping for only 2 manticores in it. When you get 3 manticores, it kind of gets a little bit rough.
Right, and if they use that flame spell, it's much worse. There is no resistance to flame for either one of our allies here. The only person that has flame resistance in this game is Ruben, and we don't use him. Even if we did, he wouldn't have the same resistance because of the resistance glitch. So Couch is through the Hellway.
And he's finally to the roof.
Making his way onto the roof. And breathe a small sigh of relief temporarily until we get to the other side of the roof, and then we have to see where Pazuzu is.
Yep. But first things first, we're gonna make sure we go down to floor 5 right away. Or no, it's on floor 6, isn't it? You have to go get a spell.
Yep. Oh, nice. JaySee had a very nice Dullahan there.
Yes, he did.
So he did pick up a little bit of time. And if Couch gets trolled with the floors and JaySee does not, it could mean a big catch up here. Also, I hate that you can't jump over furniture in this game. That is such a huge pet peeve of mine, that you can jump over people. Hey, that's fine, but jumping over the furniture? Dude, now you're getting rude.
Yep. You can't jump over tables. But you can't jump over beds. I know that for a fact.
You know that for a fact.
I know you can jump over the beds, but you can't jump over the tables.
What have you been doing, Riku?
The world record for this game is 1 hour, 52 minutes and some odd seconds, I think.
By El Magus.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you saw on JaySee's side, he accidentally used the arrow spell against the beholder, and it did full amount of damage back with Kaylee. It really sucks when you forget to switch that around the first time and you're just mashing through the buttons.
Alright, so... Couch is almost through all of his encounters on... Oh, he's about halfway through his roof encounters here.
Yeah. Chat wants to know if you can jump on the bed, Riku.
I don't know if you can jump on the bed 3-2. I don't know about that. The only reason why I know you can jump over the beds is because when you go back to talk with Kaylee and you're talking to her, you can actually jump over the bed there. And I think it's because of you actually being able, because of how it's set up, where you can actually, it's in the cutscenes where you go to like the inns and stuff, how you actually go into the bed. I think that's why you can jump over that part of the bed.
Nobody wants to jump on the couch. That would be cruel. Come on. That's good to know, Fiesel. Shout out to Fiesel for restreaming and setting everything up, because he's awesome like that.
Yes. Alright, so Coach has 3 more encounters until all of his battles that he does change completely.
Right, because once we pick up the ultimate and most awesome of fire spells, we change our strats a bit.
Wait, Zephyr, that's amazing. Just use like everybody in the tournament as puns now. Yes.
So remember, if Pazuzu is on floor 6, get your Pog Champs ready. If Pazuzu is not on floor 6, get your Baby Rages ready. I mean, granted, we still have a few encounters to go, but I'm just warning you. Pog Champs for floor 6, Baby Rages for everything else.
Yeah, I think we've got 4 encounters before we actually find out.
You can't have both. Man, I hate those things using the cure spells. It is the most obnoxious spell for an enemy to use.
Yeah, it really is.
So chat saying you can totally jump into the bed.
Yeah. Alright, so we got the flare spell, everybody.
And it is going to significantly change the battle strats. So if there is only 2 of an enemy, Ben's going to flare him and your partner is going to defend. If there's 3 of an enemy, then it's flare and a single arrow, unless there is a beholder there, and then you have to use pre-flare strats. The reason, though, for having your ally defend you is because anything, and I mean anything, even spells or attacks that are meant to hit both people, will only be affected on your ally for them defending you. And that'll save Ben a lot of dying.
Alright, so here we go. Some more flare stuff here. I love using the flare spell. And with us having 255 seeds back from Fireberg, I have no problem using them all. Nope, no floor 6, guys.
Baby Rage! All the Baby Rage.
That's always the saddest thing, is when you're walking up that way and then you see these not there, and then you're just disappointed walking down the rest of the tower.
Yep. I love the variations in chat. It's okay. We still have another opportunity for PogChamps with JC.
Yes. No floor 5 either.
Uh-oh. Floor 4, come on, couch.
You know, Mystic Quest is going to know that Couch is ahead, and it's going to want to make it a fair match here. So it's going to be like floor 2 for Couch and like floor 6 for JC, just because of that.
Well, while that would make it a very interesting race, I will admit, that would really suck for Couch.
Yes. Oh, and JC using a arrow on the beholder there.
It's okay, because Kaylee is still alive. We're fine. To sleep. Kaylee is an insomniac. Get it straight, birds.
But didn't she like sleep away? I guess she's just so rested that she never sleeps now.
Exactly. She doesn't need sleep. Now sleep is for the weak. All right, we got a floor 4. It's not the end. This is still fine, but JC can still make up a lot of time if he gets to floor 6 here. Yeah, unfortunately, JC is trying to make his way through the Hellway, and as I said, Manticores are terrible, and they're giving him a bit of trouble here.
Well, even if you miss most of this race, there's gonna be another Mystic Quest race tonight. Well, this afternoon.
Right, there'll be another Mystic Quest race at 3 o'clock with your 2 commentators here.
Yes. We decided to be friends now because we aren't going to be friends later.
Well then, fine. Be that way.
We know what Mystic Quest is going to do.
Honestly, I don't think Riku wants to win. I think he wants to focus on other things.
I don't know why I put myself into 2 tournaments that are like back-to-back. Wasn't a good idea.
By the way, if you ever find your way making your way through the Hellway, please make sure that you heal between battles.
Nah.
Or don't.
That doesn't sound like fun.
Oh, double petrify. Those damn manticores, man. Yeah, I know, even Star. I said the same thing at the beginning.
Coach just wants to have swag. That's all it is. He went red for his last match, going green for this one.
So the switches are on the even-numbered floors here. So what we're basically doing, we flipped a switch on 6, we flipped a switch on 4, and by talking to Pazuzu on 4, he moves to 5, and then he is basically trapped on 5, and that's why we can get him to fight us on 5. So typically, with the exception of floor 6, because he's not going to move to the roof, we can trap him on the odd-numbered floors.
Yeah, the only reason why 6 is an exception is just because he has nowhere to go, because you've blocked him off from going downwards, and he can't go up. And it's great. I remember when I was playing this casually, Pazuzu's tower sucked.
It's really hard if you don't know your way around and which way to go. It becomes so much worse.
And also, there's no, like, indication that those switches do anything off the start, so you're just, like, talking to Pazuzu going around, and then eventually figure it out, but... Yeah.
Really, Riku?
Yeah, I didn't know.
I think they were 4.
I didn't see them before because of how I was going around Pazuzu's tower. I never actually fought over to any of them until I got to floor 6, and I saw that one on floor 6.
Bad man.
So I was walking around Pazuzu's tower talking to him, he kept on running away, and I couldn't figure out why. So I stopped at Pazuzu's tower for the night because I was frustrated with Pazuzu. Alright, so Coach is almost to Pazuzu here. Yep, here he goes.
Alright, let's see what Pazuzu does.
Doom Dance first turn.
So, so anyway, Pazuzu, after 4 turns, on the 5th turn, he's gonna use, I'm sorry, I'll be right back.
Alright, so Pazuzu on the 5th turn, he's gonna use this ability called Psych Shield. And when that goes up, you can't be using any magic against him because it will just get reflected at you. And with the magic spells you're using against Pazuzu, hitting him for over 1,000, basically the Psych Shield will just devastate your team. So you want to be very careful about that, and Coach is having really good luck here actually off the start. And here's the Psych Shield that we were talking about. Now he can't cast anything. So he's going to take this turn to just use some cures, get his party back up, and just use seeds to get Benjamin's flare casts back up again. But yeah, Pazuzu can be pretty trolly because he has the Doom Dance ability, and he can use that on either your party members here. Alright, so Couch should be through his Pazuzu fight pretty quickly here. I don't think Pazuzu has that much health left. And there it is. So right now, looking at what Couch's splits are at, he's actually on a PB pace again here.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Welcome back. People were worried about you.
Yeah, sorry. Delivery came very suddenly without letting me know they were coming. Wow, looks like Couch had a good Pazuzu fight, though.
Yeah, he really did. Pazuzu wasn't trolly at all. He got lots of attacks off the start before the first Psych Shield, and yeah. Don't worry, I continued off your train of thought before you disappeared.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Well, it is possible because we say that Pazuzu and Za talk to each other. Yes, I'm going to call him Za. So when one is trolly, the other is not, and when the first one is not trolly, sometimes the second one is. So let's hope that Za is not trolly today.
Then most of the time they're both just trolly. Because it's Pazuzu. So looking at so now we've gotten the okay, I think okay, yeah, okay, Couch is going to we have to go and trigger this in order to continue on because we need Max Ship to be in the right spot. And normally in a casual playthrough you'd have to run through that cave to get the Mobius crest. But we have it in our inventory already, so we don't need to worry about that.
Right, so that was what the second glitch is about. When you buy 0 cure potions, it allows us to glitch quite a few items, including the Thunder Rock, because usually we would have to go all the way back to Fireberg to get it. That's not fun. We don't want to do that.
We don't like that area of the game.
No.
We just don't want to be there.
We want to spend as little time there as possible.
Exactly.
So we take this sandwich back into our party, and we're going to go save Captain Mac. And my theory has always been, since I was a little kid, that if Captain Mac had not left his stupid hat at home, the Dark King would never have tried to destroy the crystals and everything else. I completely blame Captain Mac for this entire game. Makes me very reluctant to go save him.
But he gives you a boat.
But like you see at the end, you see that, you know, Mac is almost going to forget his hat again before he goes out. And like, don't forget your hat. That's how I know. I know that it's an integral part of this.
Oh, Cat, you guys are great. I love you guys. You guys are making this fun.
Also, man, if you're playing this boat as a kid and you don't eventually realize that you can climb up those poles, because there is no indication that you can climb up those poles. I was so lost on this boat as a kid.
There's no indication for anything.
No, and if you go down the staircases, the regular outside part of the boat is extremely confusing. PogChamps! Also, sorry I got distracted by a floor 6 Pazuzu! PogChamps!
We got floor 6s! Woo! See, I told you it was going to be floor 6.
Called it.
JaySee, you better be thanking me later for this.
Jam! But yeah, the outside of the boat is super, super confusing, so it sucks.
You know what?
Alright, Pazuzu, be nice.
We can tell this is all Captain Mac's fault because even Pazuzu knows Captain Mac.
Captain Mac has created this game, has caused us to have poor life choices.
Yeah, this could definitely make it. This is definitely gonna make it a little bit closer between these two runners, which is gonna be really great.
No, that's not true, Zephyr. He hates me too.
Za hates everybody. There's nobody that Za likes.
So, on Couch's side, Kaylee comes and picks up her dad. Ruben is still crappy, so he falls down. And we gotta take him back to town.
Yep, we gotta take him to the inn. And get everyone's favorite party member back.
Phoebe! Or as I like to say, Bahobe.
So once we get our favorite party member back here, which we see on Couch's side here, and it's gonna be great, we have to go up and talk to that Captain Mac guy, because we don't know how to drive his ship, obviously, so we need to figure out how to drive it from him.
Yeah, for some reason, without speaking to him, we'd never figure out to press A at the steering wheel.
Yep. I always find it funny whenever things are taken out of context for games, like Captain Mac telling you to press A in front of the wheel of the ship to actually use it. Like, it's just one of those things where you're just like, why would you do this? Why would you tell me this? Like, I don't understand this.
I believe Chad cleared that up one of the times I was commentating. They're like, everything is just a controller. Everything. All steering I just giant controllers.
See, well, I like when games.
So you're not.
I like when games play on that fact that they do stuff like that, and just give you a little bit of information, like a little bit of a fourth wall break because of it. It's my favorite thing.
There's no breaking of the fourth wall. It's all good. Nice Pazuzu fight from JC. Awesome.
All right, so this is getting closer.
So it'll be interesting to see if Couch is going to pick up the Aegis Shield here. Looks like he is. So the Aegis Shield gives us some Paralyze and some Petrified protection for Benjamin coming up. So it is a little bit out of the way, but it's kind of worth it sometimes. Although certain world record holders will make fun of you if you pick it up while they're watching.
Yeah, like it does protect you from that stuff, and it makes your Dark King fight a lot safer. But at the same time, it's so far out of the way that basically you need to die twice to Dark King for it to make a difference, really. But here we come up to the two of the easiest boss fights in the game. As long as they don't get too trolly on you.
Right. So the Skullosaurus said that Couch is coming up to here is not coded like a boss monster. Therefore, you can use the exit spell on it.
Or if you really want to, you can also use the life spell on it.
Right.
They're both pretty great to use against it.
Mm-hmm.
But since we don't want the experience, we want to use the exit spell.
Right.
And it's gone.
So every little area around here kind of mimics the boss dungeons. So the first area mimicked the bone dungeon. The second area coming up here is going to mimic the pyramid. The third is going to mimic some weird fire area we've never seen before. Game throwing in stuff at the last minute. Bad game. And then the fourth area is going to mimic Pazuzu's tower. It's not fair. The game shouldn't just throw new enemies in at the last minute. I'm sorry, it's not okay.
Right? At least the new enemies are easy to kill.
Well, sometimes the twin-headed wyvern can get a little trolly.
Yeah. That's the new boss, though.
It is. God, stop throwing random bosses in the game. It's supposed to be a boss rush. I never bought any twin-headed anythings. Did you?
Nope, I don't.
Exactly. Game's cheating, man. This is another one of those areas, though, if you don't know where you're going and in what order to poke the statues, it can definitely set you back. You really need to know the order and the maps pretty well to run this game fast. We're fighting a lot of old monsters here. They are slowing down the rest of the party and giving Benjamin and Phoebe the speed advantages.
I'd say the encounter that Couch just entered is my least favorite encounter in this entire area. Because you don't reliably kill everything in this encounter.
I usually white and then flare this encounter. It usually gets rid of all three of them in one turn. The encounter that JaySee has with the Manticore is my least favorite encounter on that end of things, though. So Couch is almost entirely through the second floor here. Well, fourth floor, but the second part of the of Doom Castle.
Yep, and we're gonna see him coming up to the next super easy boss of the game.
Because the same as with the Skullosaur, the Stone Golem is also not quite coded correctly and therefore does not have a boss coding on it. You can use Exit on it too. I think the Cerberuses on the side are actually scarier than the Stone Golem is.
Unless the Stone Golem does something like that to you.
Right.
But the Cerberuses do have a chance to... They'd have a Petrify, I believe they have a Doom Dance as well that they do, and they have Confusion. Like, they have everything bad against you.
Yep. They are not a fun thing to have as a side to this boss.
And there's the exit.
Okay, so Couch is through the second part here. So this is actually the worst area of Doom Castle in terms of enemy encounters. There are a lot of Cerberuses in here. And a lot of the enemies can use fire spells, and as I stated earlier, none of your allies here have a resistance to fire, and it can do a lot of damage to you, and that includes the twin-headed wyvern. That's the boss of the area. Little bit dicey.
Yeah.
I mean, Zuh can troll you all he wants, but these enemies can really troll the hell out of you too. Kidding. But the nice thing is that a triple flare will actually take out 2 or 3 Cerberuses.
Yeah, and for the Cerberus fights, if you don't have the shield and can't protect against the Petrify, it's good to get Phoebe to defend you and just use the flare. Because the flare will guarantee you kill all 3 of them.
Right. So this area though is at least a little bit quicker than the pyramid area, I think.
Yeah.
There's less encounters and it's a little less mazy to get around. Oh no, JC missed the chest area. He has to go back around and do it again.
Yeah, he was trying to go just a little bit too fast there. He's trying to save a little bit of time by holding down while he's going through the quicksand to move through it a little bit faster, but went just a little bit too far there.
Yeah, I agree. At that point, he probably should have just grabbed the Aegis Shield. So, with the twin-headed wyvern, while he has two heads, he can use the flame breath attack, and that's the attack which does the most damage and has the most chance of killing your party. But as soon as the first head gets cut off, essentially, in the animation, he no longer uses that, because for some reason, eliminating an entire head eliminates the ability for the wyvern to use fire breath. So the first part is usually the most difficult here. There we go. Okay, so the first head is off. He will not use the flame breath anymore.
But this one is probably the easiest fight because we just use basically arrow and white. He can troll you, but once you get to a certain point, it's usually pretty much a safer fight.
You can use Meteor here too because it is an earth-based spell, but the animation is a little bit longer than the arrow spell is.
Alright, couches through that boss.
So now he's going to come up on the most mazy area and the most annoying of the bosses in here, which is going to be Za. Because of course, jerk bird, jerk area.
Yep.
And of course, the lower levels you do have the potential for falling off of if you're not careful. The upper levels you cannot, but the lower levels you can. Using it after he defeats Za to go back down and make a little bit of a quicker escape back into the main hallway. I'm a little surprised Couch keeps using the Blizzard spell. The Thunder spell also works very well against the ninjas, and the animation is a little bit quicker.
I think he just wants to show off the awesome look of it. It's good enough reason. Who doesn't want to see the happy little snowman everywhere?
They all want the snowman. Oh, Doom Dance by the Thanatos.
I will give you guys a some information about how far Couch is ahead in just a second, based on their last splits. Let's see. So looking at their last splits, Couch is about 7 minutes ahead. But that can all change very quickly here.
I've lost 7 minutes on Za.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just based on what time they split at for their things, and that's depending on how trolly the fights are for JC from here on out, and how trolly they are on Couch as well, because there are still a lot of really trolly encounters here.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But I'm sure that Couch is pretty happy with this run that he's having right now because of the fact of his run last night. I think it was like plus 15 minutes at the end of his run last night.
I think that was what I had with you when I was racing you last weekend. Aegis Shield pulling its weight again over here on Couch's side, man.
Yeah, sometimes it's just really worth picking up, and other times you'll just never need to use it at all. So it's one of those things where it's worth it to pick up, but it's also like it depends on how the encounters decide to treat you.
Right.
Which is a little bit safe to picking it up.
Battles away from Za.
Yes. Everyone's favorite encounter.
Damn you, Za.
Yeah, I know my last run, Za was really trolly to me, and I died to him instantly. Like, first turn, he was instantly already had Phoebe dead because of Doom Dance, and it happens a lot.
Oh boy, does it ever. Alright. Let's see how nice or not nice Za is gonna play for Couch.
Alright, so I want to point out one thing that is kind of wrong with Za's coding. Because he has an ability that hits for 1 damage. Probably isn't supposed to hit for 1 damage, but it does.
And when it crits, it does 2 damage.
Yep. And it's the amazing Psych Shield attack.
That would be the thing you would essentially want Za to use in every round of the battle. Oh, that was really lucky. That Doom Dance missed. Za does have a lot less HP than Pazuzu does, so it is technically... you can skip his last phase completely if you do enough damage to him.
Yeah, it's pretty great when you do that.
And the nice thing with this Psych Shield and having Phoebe in your party is that Phoebe will never outpace Za the same way that Kaylee could outpace Pazuzu. So if you want Phoebe to use White on him in the same turn that the Psych Shield is supposed to come down, go right ahead, because I have never seen Phoebe outpace Za. Pazuza. See? Skip the last phase completely. Holy crap. So, this is now Couch's race to lose.
Yeah, I just wanted to inform you guys of how far ahead Couch is of his personal best right now. He's 9 minutes ahead right now. After that.
Just because he didn't get trolled by Za. Yeah, we were trying to figure that out earlier, and I just made up some random nonsense about birds getting caught up in tornadoes and having their wings ripped off, and that was the best I could do.
Because Mystic Quest, we don't argue with Mystic Quest.
So, since Couch is level 22, he'll be able to use the regular Cure Defend strats here on the Dark King. Dark King is very vulnerable to first aid.
Yep.
Yes, it is JP because of where Pazuzu can be in his tower and how much trolling you get by bosses and monsters as you go through the game.
Yeah, like this game can completely switch from one side to another just because of a single boss fight. Even depending on what enemy packs you get also, because there's some that we just can't fight. And there's some that are just really trolly.
Right.
Alright.
So that is GG for Couch, and he has an official SRL time of 2:15:58. Proving his PB by probably about 12 minutes or so. So way to go, Couch.
Yeah, definitely a good run for him. And yeah, like that was, according to his splits here, that was an 11-minute PB in the end.
Nice.
Like, that's insane.
Oh, that's what happens when you don't get trolled by Za.
Yeah, he got really lucky with lots of the bosses. I think this technically second boss of the game is the easiest, because you just life it in and you win.
Yeah. Well,
But
life can miss.
life can miss, but if you don't have the shield, Dark King can paralyze you and throw everything off, and it's just
Oh yes, yes, of course.
yeah, Kira can miss too. Like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong in the Dark King fight that makes it just be a really trolly fight.
Yep.
And that's why I'd say Minotaur is probably the easiest one. Because even if life misses, it's not going to be a big thing as long as it hits next turn.
Right, as long as Kelly is at full strength, you're usually okay.
Yeah.
Because even if Ben dies, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. He still gets the experience anyways, even if he's laying on the floor.
Nice things about this game, especially if you're doing everything, Ben will always pick up the extra experience, even if he's dead. Your partner never gains levels.
Yeah. Ben is the only one that actually gains experience in this game.
He is on the next to last part here of Doom Castle, so he should not take too much longer here.
Yeah.
Oh, getting a little bit lost, but he's back on track now. It's okay. I love how Tristan is magically on the boat here at the end of the game.
Yeah, he just sneaks onto your boat. He's just like, hey.
Let's go on an adventure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I said, this floor is very long and mazy, just like Pazuzu's tower is. So there is a lot of things to go around, and unfortunately JaySee getting the double petrify there.
Yeah, and that's at least one thing that Couch would never have seen, thanks to picking up that shield.
Right. So the interesting thing about this group, as JaySee continues along the floor, is this is a 3-person group and not a 4-person group. So I believe this is the last match for this group.
Yeah.
Penguin Ninja already has moved on to the next round because he has won both of his matches. But with JaySee and Couch, even though Couch has won this match, the 2 players can still post time trials, basically. They can do a solo run and for best time, because the first person moving on from each group is the person who has won the most matches, and then the second person moving on from each group is the person with the best time. So if JaySee wants, he can do a solo run after this at some point before the group round dates end, and he can post a best time if he wants to try to be the one to move on to the next round of stuff here.
Well, you know what that best time is. You only have one chance, you can't reset, and you just have to let the admins know about it before you do it.
Right.
So they can actually watch and check it out and everything, so...
So if JaySee can post a better time than Couch, it is possible that JaySee will be the one that moves on into the next round anyhow. So anything is still possible if he wants to do that. Because today JaySee definitely had some very bad RNGs.
Yeah. And that's just part of playing Mystic Quest.
It is, unfortunately. Sometimes you have really good days, and sometimes you have really bad days.
Yeah.
You know, there is definitely something to be said for the amount of skill and your menuing and, you know, your ability not to get lost in places, but there is a lot to be said for RNG in this game. So you guys, please make sure you give both of these runners a follow, because they worked hard for you today. They kicked a lot of butt as JaySee makes his way to the last encounter before Zuh. That's right, RNG gonna RNG, Mystic Quest gonna Mystic Quest, and in the end, Mystic Quest is always the winner.
Yep. Unless you're Magus, then Mystic Quest never wins. Well, he was talking about the story of how he got his world record, and it was just like he randomly got told that there was a race going on, and he was conned into joining it, and he got his world record at that point in time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never actually heard that story. I'm gonna have to ask him at some point.
Yeah, he was talking about how he just got pulled into a race, and he was like running Mystic Quest like 4 times a day back then. And then he wanted to get to I think he said he wanted to get a 154 time.
Yeah.
And instead of getting the 154 time, he actually got a 152.
Wow.
And he is just like, yeah. I suppose the first half of the run was really bad for him, but he got a really good second half of the run.
Yeah, I find that tends to be how mine go as well. I have really terrible luck in the first half, and then really bad luck. Really bad luck in the first half, and really good luck in the second half. But anything is possible. Suggest names for Riku and I.
Well, I already know what name I'm using because I always get a PB with the name I'm going to use.
Okay.
Yep. I always PB with it, so it's my good luck name, I guess, now. Because yesterday I did run a Mystic Quest, and I tried to use a few different names, and then they kept on dying, and, like, by the third boss in, so it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna use the name that I PB'd with it every time, and then got a 7-minute PB in the end of the run. It was great.
Oh, couch. Oh, holy crap, that was close. That was the worst crit I have ever seen. Oh my god.
Oh. Wow.
That was insane.
And this is what I mean by trolling. Like, I think personally Za is the worst fight in the entire run.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Did.
Oh.
Why didn't he use flare?
He
Oh
probably
no!
wasn't paying attention to what was going on.
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
Poor JC. Well, JP, Ruben will carry, according to a friend of mine, so... I don't know why, but Ruben will apparently carry. You know, I have to say, every time Za does a Doom Dance on Phoebe, your heart catches in your throat.
Yeah.
And then it misses, and you breathe that huge sigh of relief.
Doom Dance is the worst thing because you just see it happening and you're just like, please don't, please don't, please don't, and then...
Yep.
Yeah.
God damn that trolley Doom Dance, man. Well, one would hope he doesn't do it so many times in a row.
Yeah, but he can do that.
Oh, for sure. This should be it. So JC is through the Za fight. I believe that was 3 deaths to Za, or 2 deaths.
Yeah, just Za's bad. Just leave it at that. Za's bad. Never want to fight
Za
him.
is the wrecker of PB runs.
So we can't just skip Za.
That would be nice.
Right? Or Zarnji manip him.
Yeah.
Nice too.
Thing. At least, though, JC is at level 21, so he is also going to be able to use the regular Dark King strats coming up here.
Yep. Get ready to watch some cheese.
Of course, since JC doesn't have the Aegis Shield, he is going to have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, he's got to hope for nothing that will set off the petrify against either of his characters.
Cure, defend, cure, 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 defend.
Yep. So far, really good.
This should be it. Yep, it looks like that's going to be GG for JC. And he's got an official SRL time of 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 21 seconds. So GG to both of our runners here.
Yes. Congrats to both of them on their times. Congrats on Couch on the win.
Yeah, again, please make sure you guys follow these runners because they were very awesome for you today.
Yeah, we're all trying to play really hard for you guys, and yeah, it's gonna be a good rest of the matches. We've got some more matches tonight, and pretty soon here they're gonna be putting on some more Mega Man X3. So,
is that what's next in the schedule here?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Okay,
it's
so
in 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, so guys, definitely stay tuned for that. And Riku and I have our race later today at 3 o'clock.
Yep, and that should be a good race to watch for you guys. So hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Hopefully.
And yeah.
But yeah, stay tuned for some Mega Man X in about 20 minutes, guys.